What's up everybody, Nate here from Out of the Basement, bringing you a brand new figure review today from McFarlane Toys. We are taking a look at the DC Multiverse Batman. This is of course part of the very first offerings from McFarlane Toys. These are just hitting shelves now. I was lucky enough and went to my local Target and I was able to find Batman. They also had the animated series Batman, but I'm not so interested in that one, but I definitely wanted to give this Batman a spin. So went ahead and picked him up, and you can see that the package does look reminiscent of the DC Multiverse from Mattel. So it's kind of interesting, although there is a lot of empty space in this box. So the boxes are kind of big and obnoxious. You can see at the top here we got the McFarlane Toys logo. It's got 22 points of articulation. The Multiverse logo right there on the side, DC and Batman. On the back you have a picture of the comic book art that it is based on, which is Detective Comics number 1000. I have not actually read this book, but the suit does look pretty cool, so I was definitely interested in it. On the bottom here you can see the other figures that will be coming out soon. This isn't all of them, there's definitely more than this, but this is just a few of the upcoming ones. Definitely I'm interested in Nightwing and the animated Green Lantern. Probably even Hellbat if I'm going to be honest, but there you go. Nice look at the package on the bottom. Not a whole lot going on. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to get him out of the package. We'll take a look at his accessories and then the figure itself. And right off the bat, I absolutely hate when toy companies do this and they actually put some accessories in this like piece of plastic here. So you're going to have to rip the backdrop up if you want to get the base and the trading card out. You can see right here that this is just a standard black base. It has the DC logo on it and it has one peg for Batman. And then the art card right there is the same art that we saw on the back of the box. So yeah, really lame when toy companies do this. Already that's one thing that they need to change ASAP. As far as accessories go, we get this little plain black Batarang. Doesn't really have any details to it at all. It's a very smooth piece, very simple design. I'm not sure if this is how his Batarangs look in the comic book or not, but chances are they probably do. And you can see it's definitely warped. A lot of warping going on with the way that these figures are packaged, but that's nothing a little heat really won't be able to fix. I just haven't had the time to do it yet. So yeah, it's an alright Batarang. And then you get a grapple gun that is in the process of shooting the hook out of it, which I think looks cool, but they should have definitely made this piece removable so that you could just have him holding the grapple and then maybe include this as a separate piece to plug into the gun, so like before it's fired. The effect is cool though. It's mostly some nice pliable soft plastic, so you're not going to have to worry about it breaking if it falls down or anything like that. The details on the grappling hook are less than stellar. The sculpt work is alright. And then for the hook, you can see that it's just a bat right here. And it does have some sculpted details on it. And this does look pretty nice. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Dark Knight. Alright, and here's the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Batman out of the packaging. And he honestly does look pretty good. Initially, when I saw the first pictures and promo images for the upcoming waves, I was definitely disappointed with how these were looking, but once I saw it in person and got a chance to actually see the physical figure, my opinion changed pretty quickly. So I couldn't leave Target without this guy, and I'm happy to have him because I, spoiler alert, have opened him and messed with him, and he's actually pretty cool. Of course, there are definitely things that could be improved about this Batman, but for now, let's go ahead. We're going to get him off the stand and let's take a close look at his details. So you can see right off the bat that the costume and everything does look pretty nice. There's not really a whole lot of color variation, of course, it is Batman. But I do like the design of the suit. I like the head sculpt as well. And I like the overall squareness of his head. It does kind of look a little tiny, but I don't think it's really that bad. Of course, the cape on the back here is soft plastic. You can definitely move it around, but of course everyone and their mother, I don't know anyone who prefers plastic capes over cloth capes, but I do like the sculpt work. I like the design of it. It's kind of got a flowing in the wind look, and I think that's good. At least it's a stylized design for the cape, and I like the way that it drapes over the shoulders. It does hinder the articulation a little bit, but it's really not as bad as you would think. These pieces up here are specifically pretty soft and easy to get out of the way for the arm articulation. I do like the giant bat logo, but you can kind of see on here it's a little bit hard, but it is like scuffy. I don't know, there's like weird scuff marks all over the bat symbol, little paint defects and the like. So I'm definitely probably gonna have to touch that up, but it is weird that it just has these random paint specks all over it. And the paint apps for the heads for the Batmans that were at the store were a pretty drastic range of quality. This was the best one that I was able to find, and I think it does look pretty clean. Moving down, we also have the utility belt as well, which is just painted solid yellow, and it looks okay. It definitely is a little bit sloppy and a little bit fuzzy, so it doesn't quite look super detailed, but you can see that there is definitely some good sculpt work in there. The trunks are a nice soft plastic, so they do not hinder the articulation at all, and they do look pretty nice. The sculpt work for them is good. We can see a little bat butt back here, double cheeked up. On the side too, I really like this. There's this nice textured pattern on the actual costume itself, and it looks really nice. It flows all the way down to the leg, and it does have some really nice sculpted texture in there just to kind of break up the gray of the costume. I like this costume design, although I'm pretty unfamiliar with it. I haven't really read much Rebirth stuff. But going down the figure, you can see there's more of just gray paint with a little bit darker gray for the boots. And the boots are actually sculpted pieces. They are not just painted, so that is a nice detail there. And the leg sculpts also have a small amount of muscle definition there, so I think that's good enough. Although some of the other figures look like they don't have muscles in their legs at all. And then for the boots here, you can see that it's just more dark gray. Really not a whole lot of crazy paint variation on this guy. It's a very simple Batman design, but it is pretty nice. Oh, and one thing I wanted to mention were the blade pieces right here for the forearm. They were definitely bent out of the package, so that's a little bit of a bummer, but they are nice and soft, so they're definitely not gonna break, but a lot of warping on some of the softer bits of Batman. So those are pretty much the details of this Batman, and I think the details do look pretty nice. All right, so let's go ahead. We're gonna take a look at the articulation. Okay, Batman can look up pretty far, which is essential for a Batman figure, and he can also look down a decent amount as well. Again, pretty essential for a Batman figure. The head is on a ball, so you get tons of range, you can get tons of personality out of the head, and I think that's my favorite bit of articulation. You can feel that Batman's head, at least the back part of it, is hollow, so that definitely allows for that extra articulation, which I know some people aren't a fan of that, but I think in this instance it actually works out pretty well. The front part of the head is still hard plastic, it's just that back lets you get a little bit more out of the articulation, which I think is a nice compromise. The shoulders can move all the way out, no problem. Like I said, this definitely gets out of the way. It's nice and soft, so you don't have to worry about that. Of course, you also get butterfly joints. Mine are pretty stuck though, but they are there, and perhaps with some heat adjustment, they will work even better. But for now, this is the range of motion out of the package that I got on my copy. Same thing with this arm. It definitely works. It's just a little frozen, and you can hear how stiff he is. We get a bicep swivel as well, and the arms can rotate up, and you can see here that the whole cape thing does move out of the way. So honestly, that looks goofy, but it definitely doesn't hinder the articulation as bad as you would think looking at those promo shots and the pictures that they took of the figure. Double jointed elbow, that works really well. Look at all that range you get out of there, and it didn't even really utilize the top part of the joint. That's mostly all of the bottom joint, but you can see you can get perfect 90s out of that. And for Batman's wrist, it rotates around, and the peg actually has a little bit of independent movement, so you can choose whether you want to have his wrist move in like that, or if you gently position the joint like so, and then move his hand, you can also have it moving up and down if you so choose, which I do like joints like that. They're a little ugly, they look a little goofy on the hands, but overall the range of motion that it lets you get out of it is definitely worth it. For the chest here, you can see he has a double crunch, one at the bottom of his torso and one at the mid cut. And he can crunch over just a little bit, really not too much, but you can push it and get him to go a little bit further, so that's good. And then moving back, it also works out an okay amount. The legs can kick forward pretty far as well, which is nice. He does also have the thigh swivel, but of course you swivel that thigh, you start to see some internals there that don't look so flattering. But I think the trunks help cover that up for the most part. The double knee is pretty nice as well. Works just as well as you would hope, although it probably could go a little further in had the back plastic been cut a little bit more, but it works. And then for the feet, they can move down pretty far, move up pretty far. He does also have some weird ankle pivot. It's kind of strange on these McFarlane figures. These ankles are weird. I haven't gotten any of the Fortnite figures or anything like that, so this is my first time messing around with a figure with their updated articulation. And then of course you get the toe hinge, which is a nice bonus, but really I don't think toe hinges help out all that much. So now we're going to get a sense of this new Batman scale. I'm going to compare him with some Marvel Legends, some DC Mattel Multiverse stuff, Mezco. All the heavy hitters pretty much will be covered in this video, so you can see exactly what you're getting into with the McFarlane Batman. So let's go. So we'll start with some multiverse stuff from Mattel. Of course, we have the Ultimate Alfred and the Dark Knight Joker. They're on the same body, so they're pretty much the same height, but I thought I'd compare both of them. And I honestly don't mind this height difference. I like my Batman to be a little bit bigger, although his head is definitely smaller than both of theirs, so it's obvious, you know, it's sort of a movie accurate look compared to a comic accurate look, so it's not 100% gonna line up, but Batman being taller than Alfred is a plus. And then we have the NECA SDCC exclusive armored Batman and Superman. And of course, this will apply to most of these figures, but the stylized version of the McFarlane Batman, the head looks too tiny, but I think otherwise the proportions could be fudged in with the old multiverse stuff and these NECA figures too. I think him and Superman next together look pretty good. And then we have him with the DC Collectibles Arkham Knight Battle Damaged Batman and the Mezco 1/12 Ascending Knight Batman. And then the DC Collectibles Talon, I think. Pretty sure. I don't remember. I don't have the box for that one anymore. And then the Marvel Legends Spider-Man. So you can definitely see that for you collectors out there who want desperately to mix and match your DC and Marvel characters. It looks like, again, these are going to be horribly out of scale with Legends. Although, someone like me, I am not a mixer. I like to keep my stuff separated from one another. So the different scale, the 7-inch scale, does not bother me at all. Although I can understand why people would really enjoy a 6-inch DC figure line. And last but not least, here is Batman with his new daddy, and that is Spawn. This was one of the last McFarlane releases for a Spawn figure. It's part of the Color Tops line. He's dusty as hell, so apologies for that one. But he's pretty much just a statue. But I wanted to compare him since McFarlane is now doing the DC figures. So overall, I do like this first McFarlane Toys Batman. It's definitely not the best Batman figure of all time. There's definitely a lot that could probably be improved. But for right now, I don't have any real complaints outside of maybe the accessories that were included. Would have liked to see some fisted hands because all he has are gripping hands. So if you want to have him in a combat pose, like a hand-to-hand combat pose, he's going to look a little goofy. Of course, the Batarang could be a little bit better as well. But overall, I can easily say that this is much better than any modern Mattel DC Multiverse figure in recent memory. So I think this is a step in the right direction. And of course, hopefully, as time goes on, Todd McFarlane himself said they have a 3-year contract, so hopefully they'll continue to improve and get better and better. But for a first Batman figure, I think they did a pretty good job. So now I'll pass the question off to you guys. What do you think of this new McFarlane DC Multiverse line? Have you picked any up yet? I definitely am interested in getting a couple more, and I'm hopeful for the future of mass market DC figures. That was my review. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you are new. We're always talking about action figures, movies, Blu-rays, all that good stuff. I'm Nate from Out of the Basement. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.